Okay, guys, this is something a little bit different today. We're going to be playing SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake. This was a game that was developed back in 2023. It was, you could consider it a spiritual successor to Battle for Bikini Bottom, which, of course, for a lot of people, myself included, one of my favorite games from my childhood. And so, yeah, it was really cool that they made a game that played similar to Battle for Bikini Bottom while also being its own thing. Me personally, I was never really able to really get into this game as much as I did with Battle for Bikini Bottom, but I say that that has less to do with the actual quality of the game itself, and more to do with the fact that I played this game for the first time as a 26-year-old man, and I played Battle for Bikini Bottom for the first time as a 6-year-old child, so that might have more to do with it, is that, yeah, when you get older, your tastes tend to change, and I think if I was a 6-year-old kid playing this game for the first time, I would love it and I would think it was the greatest game ever, because even going back to Battle for Bikini Bottom, it just feels like way too easy and rudimentary. Like, there really isn't a whole lot to it. It's great because it's a SpongeBob game and it takes place in a lot of the same environments as the TV show, and it does a lot of references to the old episodes of the series. So for that way, like, in that way, it's definitely worth it. This game kind of does its own thing. It's more original. It has this kind of multiverse thing going on where you travel into alternate dimensions. So you get to visit, like, again, iconic locations from SpongeBob, like Jellyfish Fields and the Kelp Forest and all these different places, but they kind of have more of a time travel spin on it. Like Jellyfish Fields takes place in the Wild West in this version, and the Kelp Forest takes place during prehistoric times. And there's also a medieval level, and it's kind of like, think of Crash Bandicoot 3, where you're traveling across different dimensions and different time periods. They pretty much took that exact same concept and put it into SpongeBob form, and that's essentially what the Cosmic Shake is, story-wise. Gameplay-wise, it is very similar to Battle for Bikini Bottom. It's a 3D platformer, when the combat feels somewhat similar, but also pretty different. Honestly, I didn't really care for it that much. Like, it wasn't enough to get me hooked in, but again, I think you gotta be, like, you gotta acknowledge this is a game that is made mostly for children. I mean, obviously it's for older folks as well that wanted another game that was like Battle for Bikini Bottom, but it's hard for me to get too critical and judgmental for games that are really, like, made and designed specifically for younger audiences. I just feel weird, because there are some people who go, like, on hour, 2-hour long whole video essays dissecting everything, talking about why this cartoon is bad, why this video game is bad, but they're obviously not for you, you know? So I don't really get into that whole thing. I don't really understand the whole point of that. But as far as the Cosmic Shake is concerned, there really aren't a lot of 3D platforming games that exist anymore. Like, they're not really being developed in this current era of gaming. So to have another game like that that's out there, that's kind of new, and I think graphically it's really good, and it runs great, it looks great, everything. It's worth it just for that reason, because there really aren't that many other games that are out there in that genre. You know, you had a plethora of 3D platforming games in the early to mid-2000s, but after that it kind of fizzled out, and they're kind of few and far between these days. So I would, yeah, for that reason alone, if you're interested in these types of games, then definitely pick it up and play it. If you, for some reason, never played Battle for Bikini Bottom before, I would say play that one first. But regardless, if you're a SpongeBob fan, you're going to get something out of this. I thought it was kind of jarring that Tom Kenny's voice, he's the voice actor of SpongeBob, he sounds old. Like, I'm not saying that in an insulting way, but it's just like, goddamn, like, you kind of forget after a certain point. Like, yeah, this has been going on for 25, 26 years now, the whole SpongeBob franchise, and he just doesn't sound like he used to, and I'm like, oh, wow, I feel old now, too. But, hey, I think that it's overall a pretty solid game that I admittedly still haven't finished yet. I was able to blow through Battle for Bikini Bottom in just a couple of play sessions, and now in Cosmic Shake, I'm only, like, at the halfway point, and I started playing it towards the end of 2023, so, I don't know, maybe there's something about that that's like, maybe there is something missing that Battle for Bikini Bottom had that this one doesn't. I would say that is probably better than the SpongeBob movie game, though, because that game gets very frustrating very quickly, and it overstays its welcome at certain points. While this one, it's nice and short, and it's to the point for the most part. And, you know, viewer watching this video can see the gameplay, and you kind of have an idea of what you can expect going into it. It's not groundbreaking or earth-shattering, but it's a fairly competent 3D platformer that, especially a SpongeBob fan, would appreciate very much.